I'm Hazel and I'm the librettist of the Sound Voice project.
I'm Hannah Conway, I'm the composer and artistic director of the Sound Voice project.
And I'm Dr. Thomas Moores, I'm the medical director of Sound Voice.
We are the winners of the FEDORA Digital Prize 2023. So the Sound Voice project started many years ago when I wanted to create a piece deeply looking at what it means to have a voice and what it means when voice is gone. And I wanted to do this by drawing together people that would normally never meet in the same space. Experts in voice, either because they had lived experience of voice loss and their families, or because of their professional expertise in voice. Healthcare professionals, technology professionals, biomedical researchers, and bring them all together and collectively think about this question: what does it mean to have a voice?
As we worked alongside many people with lived experience of voice loss, we discovered that different people with different conditions had different needs and desires from their voices. People with Parkinson's were telling us, we want to be able to speak louder, we want to be heard. People with motor neurone disease were saying, we don't have pace and we don't have emotional expression anymore in our voices, and that's a grief for us. And so we looked really carefully at not just the voice that was gone, but what part of your personality was lost. Your ability to speak up loudly for yourself, your ability in our piece, Paul, we talk about your ability to respond quickly at a dinner table, to be social, to be part of a group. And then with Tanya, we looked really carefully at what it is to be a mother and a parent and somebody who needs two hands, and suddenly you need one hand to be able to speak. And so what happens to your role in life? What we really wanted to think about was not just the mechanics of what happens when you lose your voice, but what happens to you as a person, what is lost, and how do you attempt to regain it using all sorts of other languages that we all speak inherently.
So in this piece we were really fortunate to have a fantastic creative team, including sound designer David Shepherd and video designer Luke Halls. We worked very, very closely with both Luke and David to conceive of this work. So we're using 360-degree immersive sound, projections on transparent gauzes. In the making of the work itself, we were using new technologies, working with a company making digital synthesized voices, who made a digital chorus from samples of spoken voices of the performers of Shout at Cancer, a choir that Thomas leads. The choir now, they no longer have their voice boxes, but the technology company made a digital chorus sample from recordings of their voice pre-cancer, before they lost their larynxes. We also used an electrospit in the central piece in the work, which is a piece of technology that you put around your neck, and it enables a transformation of sound that somebody can control with their articulation. So that was also a technology that had never been used with a performer who had a laryngectomy before.
How you involve the different groups of people who have different pathology that's affecting their voice is by using the groups that are the social groups behind them, the associations that are helping them. One of them is Shout at Cancer, a charity that's devoted to the speech rehabilitation, using music as a motivational tool to help them in their speech recovery and their social reintegration. We've got the MND Association as well, which is helping with distributing information, bringing them together, creating a forum for them and helping them in how to deal with daily life after MND, because it's quite complex. And we work with Parkinson Sing for Joy choir as well, a community of Parkinson participants who are singing together and who are bringing joy to their life in that way. And so it was an easy approach to them, because it's an established group. We invited them, do you want to make a difference? Do you want to have an impact on the technology that's in development to help your own community? And do you want to distribute this message in a beautiful way to your communities and a wider community? So they all happily and quickly came on board.
And these workshops that we led were always combining groups of people who had different lived experience with a whole mixture of professionals from multiple sectors that came together, not knowing each other, not used to singing and doing creative writing together, and everybody was equally terrified of those things because it's not what people do in their usual daily lives. And so the hierarchies that might normally exist when you have patient, doctor, or biomedical researcher, lab technician, the hierarchies dropped away and we were able to work in a very, very human, honest way. Working with this incredible group of mixed professionals and people with lived experience had enormous benefit for everybody, because working in an artistic way, taking people through an artistic, creative process, conversations started happening that never normally would do because there was such an equality in that space. So the result of the project were totally unforeseen. We knew, or we hoped at least, that we were going to produce a very powerful artistic piece, but actually the healthcare professionals reported transformed change of thinking and practice. The biomedical research team, we changed the direction of the research that they were doing, and the technology company began innovating new commercial products as a result of being part of the product.
It's very interesting for medical professionals who are involved, who normally only spend 10 minutes time with clinical diagnosis, with clinical language, who suddenly discover this whole different aspect behind the patient in front of them. For the researchers as well, it was not a number or a statistic, it was a story. So those statistics were translated into storytelling, which they can use in their own research, but also in their own communication towards different teams as well. But for the participant as well, it was impactful for them to understand how this research is developing, what the important factors are in decision making as well. And they feel important because they've had a say in this, and they feel respected and recognized in a way. So that all together is a very powerful combination that has translated in a beautiful project with an incredible impact on each participant.
So when you're dealing with people's real life stories, that it's incredibly sensitive material. You're making work about possibly one of the most traumatic times of people's lives. You're making it with them, you're making it for them, but you're also making it for audiences all over the world that might then begin to see these works. So this brings up really interesting ethical questions for us as artists in terms of how we make work when we're dealing with such sensitive subject matter. You know, what are the boundaries? We were constantly navigating that space, weren't we?
Yeah, and I think what was really important is that we always sought and got consent from the people that we were working with, and not just, yes, I agree, but yes, I agree and I understand and I am with you in the same purpose, which is we want this work to share stories. It's important to know the purpose of the work and the reason you want these stories to be out there. It's, you know, our work, it's emotional. That's not why it's there. It's so that people can hear voices that they wouldn't usually hear. And that can be emotional for people. And I think as long as we had that shared goal, that felt like we were on the right path with people. Hannah and I have a lot of experience working with found material, with groups of people, making work in a devised way. And so we have a lot of craft to bring. And we were able to work as collaborators. Paul or Tanya or the choir and the huge number of other people that we work with came with their stories and their honesty and their generosity, and we brought craft to that and made a piece. But we really made it together, and that's what's really important, with a shared purpose to share these stories with the public.
And on top of that, we are dealing with trauma, so we provided extra support, psychological support, in case someone wanted to reflect on that and talk about it, about what they just went through, what they just really lived, and how they felt about that.
Having the Sound Voice project recognised by FEDORA and given that platform is very, very special. In this day and age, thinking very critically about whose stories are given the stage, whose voices are given the stage, is so important. And so for FEDORA to celebrate this work at the highest standard on a European level, and to be celebrating that in the world of opera, where you have untrained voices with world-class singers, is incredibly special and means an awful lot, not only to us as a team, but I hope that that really asks audiences and opera houses and programmers and curators of work to really deeply think about the stories that they are promoting and the voices that they're promoting.
When I started this project, I didn't think I had experience of voice loss. I hadn't really thought about my voice. But what's been surprising and really gratifying and really powerful about talking to audiences of this work is that it really touches on something universal for people, and it encourages people to think about who they are and what their voice means to them in literal ways and in figurative ways. And that's been really surprising and really powerful to me. And what's been really wonderful about working on this project is we're a small team, we're able to be fleet of foot, we're able to be responsive, and I would love to see more people in opera making work on a smaller scale, but responsively thinking about the world around them and really fostering a culture of creating new things as there are in other art forms, and building a new canon to add to this wonderful bank of work that we see again and again on the main stage.
For me to describe the FEDORA Platform Prize in 3 words is engaging, connecting and moving in 2 ways: moving people and moving forward towards innovation.